Dude, dragons. They've captured our imaginations for generations. They're majestic, they're powerful, they're absolutely amazing. So of course they translate well to the medium of video games, right? Well, when the truth dawns, it dawns in freaking fire. You want dragons, huh? Well, here you go, compliments of your friendly neighborhood quarter guy. Now, for the record, while the title says dragons, I am also including wyverns and the like on this list. Also, let me get a couple things out of the way. First, I haven't played Fire Emblem Awakening, so Grima's out. Guess you'll get your chance another day. Also, I haven't played a Spyro game, so I can't include him. And since I'm only including dragons that originate from video games, nothing from Yu-Gi-Oh! Sorry, Blue Eyes White fanboys! Also, I would have included Ridley, but he was too big for the list. Alright, you set for some adventure? I thought so. It's game time! Okay, let's get one thing straight. There is no way in hell I would talk about dragons and not mention Breath of Fire. Especially when your pro tag can change into a dragon himself. Having played the first two games, and, well, that other game, I can appreciate the central themes of the games. That being said, the most satisfying part of the game is unleashing the power of the dragon within. Throughout the games, Ryu, no, not that Ryu, gains new dragon transformations, whether by plot or by trial by fire. The best I've seen is in Breath of Fire 2. When your allies infiltrate the HQ of the Church of the Evil God of the Hour, you're confronted by the man in charge who sends a former ally to slaughter you. Boss fight ensues, and it's one-sided with your party getting manhandled by your foe's overwhelming ponage. That is until this happens. Oh, it's on now! Look at this beast. Look at it! Can you tell me, unironically, that the Kaiser Dragon doesn't look totally badass? That in and of itself is cool, but its attack has the most potential damage in the game. At full power, it hits the damage cap of 999. Of course, as a counterbalance, it uses up all your AP. Of course, that's probably so it doesn't break the game like Agni did in the first game. Seriously, it made the final bosses a complete joke, and unlike Dragon Quarter, it won't consume your soul. I kinda need that, you know! Oh my friggin' Jesus, this game is adorable. Seriously guys, Kirby's Return to Dreamland is one of the cutest games on record. At least for the first 5 worlds. Once you get to Helcondra, things get a little more serious. After you get through Sega's contribution to the game, seriously look at the name of the place, you reach the token fire levels, oddly named Dangerous Dinner. It's a little tricky, at least by Kirby standards. It has some intense moments, and, well, it's being run by a dragon with 4 heads. While Landia's cartoony appearance might cause people not to take it seriously, and let's be honest, it's an absolute joke if you have the right ability, taking the beast lightly is a one-way ticket to a first-class ass-whoopin'. As a boss, Landia has what you'd expect from a dragon. Standard issue fire breath, wings that create shockwaves, a tail that it whips around, and of course, dive bombing. However, this dragon has a secret. Or should I say, these dragons. Yeah, 4 dragons can cover a lot more ground than 1, meaning you have less room to dodge the attacks they throw at you. On top of that, they coordinate their attacks perfectly, considering they can fire energy beams between them and play a mean game of fireball tennis. It's an exciting fight, but the cherry on top? They team up with you once Magolor hijacks the plot, takes the MacGuffin of the day, and begins his overused Nostalgia Critic meme. I don't know whose idea it was to ride dragons in a Gradius level, but I friggin' love it! The title of Best Zelda Game is in constant debate, and Ocarina of Time is always among the contenders. The story of the Hero of Time is usually held in high regard among fans of the series, and I can easily understand why. Part of the reason is the story, considering shit gets pretty real quickly. After Ganondorf tricks you, gains the Triforce of Power, and turns Hyrule into a hellhole, the freshly aged Link is tasked with gathering the sages. At one point, this brings our green-clad journeyman to the Fire Temple at Death Mountain. There you find your sworn brother, Darunia, who unfortunately has no time for a Goron dance. He needs your help saving his kinsman from a giant lava dragon after all. Welcome to Freddy friggin' Fazbear's Game Room, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't your daddy's whack-a-mole game, oh no. We're dealing with an immolated serpent with a mane of pure magma whose flight causes rocks to fall from the ceiling. And of course, no whack-a-mole game is complete without a hammer, right? And no dragon is complete without dangerous breath, and VOLVAGIA even comes with that fiery mane of his. Of course, with this cool fight comes an interesting side note. In the manga, Link befriended a lava dragon as a child, but that dragon was corrupted by Ganondorf during the time skip, forcing Link to kill it. Guess what? It was VOLVAGIA. Granted, the manga isn't canon, but it still makes for an interesting and tragic story. In the game, it's just a Goron eater. I can't imagine Gorons taste all that good anyway. Typically, you have to deal with bosses at the end of a level. Then there are those times when they'd rather be up in your face from the very start. Think of the Hewdraw as being similar to Landia, but with a lot more personality. Hell, it's practically 3 characters in one. We got the blue head who's friendly on the outside, but with quite the vein streak. We have the purple head who's the brains of the outfit and shows a certain degree of respect. Then there's the hot-headed magenta head whose signs of maturity are few and far between and can't stand puns. In Chapter 3, this beast is a presence throughout, coming after you in the air battle. And it's hilarious how the 3 heads fight with each other. The dialogue actually changes throughout the chapter depending on which head you'd fight first, which is kind of a nice touch. During the air battle, you're dealing with all 3 heads at once, but thanks to your resident goddess of light, they won't get close enough for a helping of angel food cake. So they're gonna try to bake you instead, until you destroy one head and knock off another. Cue the land battle where Pit chases down the other heads until...
What just happened?
Do you like the gift? It's my patented monster pheromone. Monsters just love the smell of it. And now it's all over you.
Wow. Palutena, you're a dick! So after that near disaster, the final head lies in wait in a cool boss fight where you turn the beast's fireballs into depth charges. A fun and enjoyable fight to be sure, but was it really worth getting nearly killed by the deity you serve? Nope, I don't need to explain this choice. I said everything that needs to be said about Magma Dragoon in my top 15 favorite Mavericks list already. Go watch that list if you want to hear the whole story. Hint, hint. Okami, a game loved by some and hated by others. Yeah, there's a lot of backtracking and some of the characters don't make much sense, but there's a lot of detail that went into this game, both in its art style and its story. Considering the wide scope of Japanese mythology, Clover Studios had a lot to draw from, and as much flack as Orochi gets, the beast's portrayal in the game is more or less dead on. In the original Shinto myth, Yamato no Orochi was threatening to devour Kushinada, the final daughter of 2 earthly deities. The storm god Susanoo disguised Kushinada as a comb, got the massive beast drunk on sake, and cut off his heads one by one. That's similar to what goes down here, with the divine intervention of our friendly neighborhood Lupine Sun Goddess. The fight has been built up since the beginning of the game, and the attention to detail that Clover Studios put into this fight is staggering. Each of Orochi's 8 heads has its own attack that requires a different strategy to counter, putting the skills you've learned thus far to the test. Once you do so, you'll have the chance to get the beast piss-ass drunk. Taking out 3 of the heads will give you the chance to destroy the bell on its back, after which you get to finish the job. That cutscene in which you and Susanoo decapitate old Snake Eyes 8 times over is just majestic. Of course, the main issue I have with Orochi is the fact that you fight this guy 3 times! Well, at least Clover continued its tradition of over-the-top bosses when they broke off from Capcom and became Platinum Games. Thank you, Miss Kamiya. Considering the massive amount of effort that Riot put into the lore of League of Legends and its champions, it should come as no surprise that dragons should enter the mix as well. Half-dragons, on the other hand, are looked down upon as abominations, something that Shyvana knows firsthand. As a child, Shyvana and her father were constantly on the run, particularly from a rather vicious drake. Her hatred and savagery boiled over when her father was killed in a ferocious battle with their pursuer. Her desire for vengeance eventually led her to Jarvan IV and his Demacian troops, and together they pursued and brought down the beast with Shyvana herself delivering the coup de grace. Now she serves as a member of the Demacian Elite Guard, though her allies are still fearful of her power. If you've seen her on Summoner's Rift, you would immediately understand why. Her high health and attack damage stats means she can hit like a tank and tank it like a Panzer Dragoon. Also, her skills rely on dealing added damage to her foes, whether it's a second attack, cloaking herself in fire to ravage any sucker foolish enough to get close, or marking her enemies with fire just to burn them twice over. However, her skills don't require mana unlike most champions. Instead, she builds fury with attacks and over time. Once it reaches maximum, a smart champion will want to GTFO before they're slain. When Shyvana unleashes her true Dragon Force, she becomes even faster and more powerful, and her skills get insane buffs until her fury wears off. Of course, before that happens, she's liable to leave her share of enemies as burnt-out husks on the ground. Hey look! More charcoal for the barbecue! Somebody get the brats! Dragon types are among the most powerful Pokemon in existence. Back in Gen 1, if you had a Dragonite, you were the man. Unless someone had a Pokemon with an Ice-type move. However, it was the 3rd generation in which dragons started to explode. Especially since it gave us one of the most powerful Pokemon in existence. Rayquaza is infamous for being one of the most feared Pokemon in the entire series. Based on the legendary Ziz from Hebrew mythology, Rayquaza is the leader of the Weather Trio and the mascot of Pokemon Emerald, a title well earned for that matter. Making its home in the ozone layer, the beast only drops by for a visit on certain occasions, said occasions usually being whenever a particularly bold trainer wants to make it its own. And boy is it worth it, boasting a base stat total of 680 with insane attack power, it makes lesser beasts tremble. And that's not even counting the absolutely broken Mega Evolution it got in the Delta episode in Oras. Rayquaza is the absolute last Pokemon that needed a Mega, but apparently Game Freak said, screw the metagame, we want to shatter the Pokétheon into 1,000,000 pieces. Mega Rayquaza is pretty much the most broken weapon I have ever seen in any game in the history of ever. Its very roar knocking down metal blades for days. This thing has the highest stat total of any Pokemon ever, and it only needs its signature move to Mega Evolve, meaning it has earth-shattering strength and a hold item. Uber? Please! It's too uber for uber. It has its own tier. Not to mention, it went into space to destroy a meteor. Now that's some DBZ level insanity right there. Behold your new Pokegod laughing in the face of your pathetic tier lists! If you are even a slight fan of Final Fantasy, there is no way in heaven or hell, Duel 1, Let's Rock, that you haven't at least heard of Bahamut. Ever since he gave your Warriors of Light their class change in the original game, the Dragon King has been a near constant presence throughout. And what a presence it is, because hot damn is this beast intimidating. What, like you'd expect a dragon to be? Well, duh! Ever since summons were introduced as early as Final Fantasy III, Bahamut has been the apex, the god, the supreme eidolon. More often than not, you have to earn this summon, and believe me, that is an achievement worth bragging about, because the power this baby wields is more than worth it. Bahamut is incredibly powerful no matter what form he assumes, and that power is best expressed through its signature attack. I don't care who you are, the name Mega Flare is something to run from the second you hear it. And that's not even talking about the higher forms it possesses in Final Fantasy VII. Not only is the original Bahamut around in all its scaly glory, but you can also claim the materia for the evolved Neo Bahamut and the absolutely terrifying Bahamut Zero. And on top of that, Advent Children and Crisis Core have unique forms of Bahamut all their own. This is a beast you want on your side, and whenever it isn't, you are in trouble with a capital T and that rhymes with B and that stands for Bahamut. Everyone who was present for the finale of Final Fantasy XIV saw how Primal Bahamut emerged from the artificial moon and decimated the world in the most incredible apocalypse I've ever seen. Square Enix may have made some serious screw-ups, but they sure know how to make a cutscene. Okay, this may come as a surprise, but the #1 entry on this list is actually the most recent entry by far. With that, we return to the world of Monster Hunter, and we've got a lot to choose from. Alatreon, the Wrath Duo, Dire Morales, just to name a few. So who is it? Enter the Gormagala. Damn, that was fast, wasn't it? Hardly even 2 months out in the West, if that, and already we've got a beast for the history books. And just looking at this thing, that's no surprise at all. I mean, damn! 6 jet black limbs, massive wings, and when it gets pissed, those horns strike a sharp contrast. Can you honestly say that this thing doesn't look awesome? Not to mention, it's powerful as crap. Another thing to note, it's blind. It actually scatters scales from its wings to sense its surroundings. But that's not all. Those scales cause a nasty infection, the Frenzy Virus. If you catch this virus, you gotta get aggressive. It's a serious risk-reward mechanic that forces you to strategize your attacks. Oh, and when it's really pissed, the sky turns black. Not bad, especially since this beast has been built up for a good chunk of the game. And this isn't even its true form! After you beat it for the first time, it molts its scales and goes full Elder Dragon, transforming into a golden menace of terror, the Shagaru Magala. Heralded as a bringer of calamity, this full-grown Armageddon on wings lives up to its billing. Its attacks are more powerful than ever, its rage can only be quelled by killing it, and the virus it emits is so powerful that other monsters fall victim to its wrath. Frenzied monsters are dangerous, you know. First-time hunters facing this thing are in for a true test of their skills. Dodging, finding an opening, jumping on its back to topple it, you will be tested in this fight. You wanted to fight a dragon? This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Staring death in the face in all its badassery and spitting in its eye while driving a sword into its skull, followed by dancing over its corpse. If you've been waiting to experience the Monster Hunter life, there's no better time than now. The ultimate dragon is waiting for you. Are you tough enough to face it?
I'm the quarter guy, and Guild Mama's best waifu.
Hey there, thanks for watching. If you like this list, click on the thumbs up. If you have something to share, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to see more, check out my other videos and feel free to subscribe. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, so feel free to check those out too. Got some extra money and want to support my channel even further? I have a Patreon page where you can donate and maybe score some sweet perks while you're at it. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time. Later!
Shenron, arise!